A fine and fair Monday afternoon to all. Yours truly, Patrick De Jesus here, and this is PTV News Now. Kicking off our stories this afternoon. The nation's top cop, General Nicolas Torre III, wants a speeded-up medical examination of the items recovered from Taal Lake last week. Earlier, he ordered the Calabarzon PNP Crime Lab to convey last week's items retrieved from Taal Lake to PNP headquarters post-haste. Torres' directive seeks a facilitated and transfer and forensics test to put all worries, doubts, and questions to rest. Whether the items the scuba teams recovered from the bottom of Taal Lake last week were phony or for real. Police Brigadier General and spokesperson Jean Fajardo meanwhile affirmed that DNA samples taken from a dozen relatives of the missing cockfighting gamers are all set for forensic examination. The samples at hand will be cross-examined with DNA extracted from the mysterious items or substances retrieved from Taal Lake's bottom. And if DNA samples match, the suspects in custody will then be charged, or more suspects may be named or voluntarily surrender for a plea deal. Dive search and recovery operations in Taal Lake resumed earlier today with a remotely operated vehicle or ROV top to aid in the search. For its part, the Philippine Coast Guard vehemently pushed back on speculations the items found from deep down Taal Lake were planted or pre-arranged. No sooner is one stone taken away than another one inlaid in its place. Today, the President officially filled out the gaps in his cabinet by officially putting his new communications chief and energy czar in place in simple oath-taking ceremonies in Malacanang. After taking his oath in a symbolic leadership turnover ritual last week from Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, newly minted and acting PCO Chief Dave Gomez raised his right hand before the President and vowed to perform the duties of his post and office. He promised to pursue and promote transparency, press freedom, and a comprehensive transition into digitalization of his office and department. Likewise, the President also swore into office today his new lead person for the Department of Energy, Ms. Sharon Garin, with immediate family members looking on, took her oath of office from the President as full-time head of her department. Ms. Garin's body of work and educational background is impressive. A party list representative for 13 years and first ever deputy speaker from party list ranks. She was Undersecretary of the Department and its acting chief since 2025. Ms. Garin touts a dual professional status of being a lawyer and certified public accountant. After suffering setbacks in trying to secure a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, U.S. President Donald Trump has set his eyes to broker a truce between Israel and Gaza by next week. After last week's visit by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Washington, D.C., where he surprised the U.S. President with an announcement, he formally nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. Efforts by the Trump administration have been ramped up to secure a ceasefire deal between Hamas and Israel for at a 60-day truce in war-torn Gaza. In a face-off with reporters Sunday, Trump said talks are afoot to clinch a U.S.-brokered agreement for an interim cessation to armed conflict in Gaza, where the body count reached over 58,000 over the weekend. And that's a wrap for this afternoon's stories. Join us later on for another set of breaking stories in our evening edition. I am Patrick De Jesus, and thank you for watching PTV News Now.